Find the remainder when the polynomial p is divided by x plus 1. You might be thinking, oh, I don't really want to do long division and all those steps just to find the remainder. And the great thing is that you don't actually have to. There is a thing called the remainder theorem, which basically allows you to find what the remainder is after division without actually having to do the division. All you have to do is evaluate the polynomial at a particular value. The value is given based on what you're going to be dividing by, and you have to just take the coefficients and the constant of that division term and rearrange them like so. A good way to remember how to do this without learning the formula is you can just equate this to 0 and then get x by itself. So if it's ax plus b, if I equate that to 0 and rearrange to get x, I would first subtract b from both sides, leaving ax equals minus b, and then I would divide both sides by a, which leaves x equals minus b on a, which goes in here. So you don't really need to learn this actual formula, you just need to remember that you should equate the bracket to 0 and then get x by itself, and that's the thing that you substitute into your polynomial to figure out the remainder. What will then happen is once you substitute that into the polynomial and you evaluate it, the number that you get at the very end is the remainder that you would have gotten if you did the whole long division. So this is a very useful tool, and this will actually plug into one of the things we do later, which is actually figuring out factors of polynomials from scratch, basically. So this is a precursor to that. So let's give this a go. This polynomial is going to be divided by x plus 1. So we need to figure out what we're going to substitute. We're going to do p of something, and that's going to give us the remainder. Now, according to the remainder theorem, what you have to do is just equate that to 0. Equate x plus 1 to 0. And just rearrange to get x by itself. So that's just minus 1. And this is the thing, once x is by itself, that's what's going to go into your p for you to then calculate the remainder. So p of negative 1 gives you the remainder for the polynomial, for p of x, divided by x plus 1. Okay, that's the remainder theorem. So using that, we can do this very quickly. So let's do p of negative 1 equals. Now everywhere I see an x, I'm replacing it with negative 1. Negative 1 squared minus 5, negative 1 plus 3. And now let's go through and just simplify. So 3 cubed is, negative 1 cubed is negative 1 plus 2 times negative 1 squared is just 1, minus gives you plus 3. And now let's just collect our like terms. Actually, let's do this one first. Plus 5 plus 3. So we have negative 1 plus 2 is 1, plus 5 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Okay, so all of this is just telling us that when p of x, when this polynomial is divided by x plus 1, the remainder is 9. So we can just give remainder is 9. And if you don't believe me, you can verify this by doing a full long division. This would be a really good exercise to try. So if you actually did the long division of dividing this by the divisor, at the very end of all of your steps, you should be left with a remainder of 9. So that's a good exercise to try to help convince yourself that this is true.